Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar session brought to you by Robinson College of Business, Georgia State University, USA, and Shiksha.com. Student, this is an informative session on Master of Science in Information Systems program that is being offered by the university to all international students. Before we move further, I would like to introduce our presenters from the university. So our first presenter is Mr. Simha Magal. He is the faculty at Robinson College of Business. Our second presenter is Ms. Sarah Ramsey. She is the Director of Graduate Recruiting and Admissions Department. And we have two students who are currently studying at the university, Rahul Suri and Aditya from the university. And student, for all of you, if you have questions, I will request you to please post your questions in the question section. We will take all the questions at the end of the session. If you wish to ask questions directly to our presenters, please click on the raise hand tab. Shiksha will unmute you and you can ask your questions directly to them. I will now request Sarah to please start with the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and we're so happy to be here and for the introductions. And I guess that we got scooped a little bit because we have a little bit of just a close-up picture of each of us and letting you know our titles. And as far as Aditya and Rahul are concerned, you can see here their concentrations within the Masters of Science and Information Systems program, and you'll get a chance to hear from them a little bit later in the presentation. So we're really looking forward to sharing more about Georgia State University's Robinson College of Business MS and Information Systems program. So with that, you've gotten a chance to see who we are, and we'll tell you even more about us in just a few minutes. But we'll talk about just Georgia State and Robinson, so you know a little bit more about our institution. Then we'll dive more into the MSIS program to give you some details on what the program's all about and why you want to be a part of it. Then what that return on investment summary looks like, and then we'll give you a chance to meet our students that are on the session with us today and hear more about their experiences. And then finally, we'll be opening it up to question and answer. So with that, I'm just briefly want to give you a little bit of an idea of where we are. I know sometimes it's hard, when you're from different parts of the world, you may not know exactly where Atlanta, Georgia is. So we are in the southeast region of the United States. They call us the Silicon Valley of the South. The metropolitan area is 6 million people. We're on Eastern time zone. And it's a humid subtropical climate. So it's a great place to be. You get all the seasons. But beyond that, it's great to be here to learn and to work. So we have the busiest airport in the world, serving 150 destinations, more than 75 international destinations from 50 countries. So it makes for easy travel getting in and out of Atlanta, Georgia, if you're studying here or working here. Also, when it comes to opportunities and learning from organizations. You can see here we've got 29 Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies. Some of those include Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola, Cox Enterprises, Home Depot, Newell Brands, WestRock, Intercontinental Hotels, Equifax. You may have heard of a few. And then there's a lot of job growth opportunities that are happening here. And we're surrounded by some of those same companies I mentioned with corporate innovation centers. So there's a lot of activity and opportunity here in the Atlanta area. Just about Georgia State, just to give you some insight into our larger university, we have 53,000 students in total. You can see some of our rankings, which are a lot of the reasons that brought me here as an employee. Is as an institution, Georgia State is ranked #2 most innovative university, as well as being committed to teaching, ranked #1, and #6 for social mobility. So these are areas where we are really committed, and this trickles down to the Robinson College of Business. For the Robinson College of Business, we are one of the largest business schools in the South. We have the largest portfolio of one of the largest portfolios of many graduate business schools with 15 programs. And you can see here some of our ranked programs, including our MS in Information Systems program. Over here, you see an image of an owl and the J. Mac Robinson logo. And this is really just more about our history. And over 100 years ago, we were a school that was focused on working professionals. And in a program like the MS in Information Systems, our students are doing internships, and our programs are continued to be designed to allow you to get these working opportunities while you're studying in a rigorous program. So with that, just some other rankings we thought might be interesting for you to know about Atlanta. I mentioned what a great place it is to live, you know, all the opportunities that are here, but you can see even more that it's a tech, you know, #1 US tech hub, metro, #3 metro for STEM professionals, #5 state for innovation, most attractive for metro for Gen Zers, #6, #8 market for tech talent, and #13 best places for businesses and careers. And then of course 18 for cities for young professionals in America. So just a lot of great reasons to be here and to learn here and to find opportunities here when you graduate. So with this, I'm going to turn it over to our faculty director, Dr. Simha Mughal, and he'll provide a little more insight into some of the distinctive features of our program.
Hey, thank you, Sarah. And hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. There's a lot to talk about the program, but in the limited time, I'm going to highlight a few things. As many of you probably already know, we are a highly ranked program, US News and World Report, and we're consistently ranked quite highly over the last many years. And one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, you're selecting an MSIS program like ours is what it does for you once you're done in terms of jobs. So I'll talk a little bit about placements and a very unique feature about internships. Our curriculum is constantly being revamped. In fact, starting in fall 2022, it's a little bit different than what our Aditya and Rahul are going through. They might say, hey, why didn't you do that when we were here? So every time we evolve the curriculum, alumni will say, why didn't you do that when we were there? So we try to stay current as much as we can. Our faculty are among the best in the world, and I'll highlight a few. We have numerous extracurricular learning opportunities through Bootcamps, another very distinctive feature of our program. And then for those of you interested in the cybersecurity concentration, the National Security Agency, the NSA in the United States, designates certain programs, and these designations include Center of Excellence in Research and Center of Excellence in Education. And our university has both. Could somebody mute everyone, please? I hear some audio. So just one more thing in the go back, Sarah. Yeah, there you go. So these two designations together is very unusual. There are very, very few universities in the country that have both the research and education designations. It's a big deal. It took us about 2 years to get this designation. On to our next slide, job placement. We've been very, very successful. Our students have been very successful in getting employed in the last several years. It ranges between 93 to 100%. It's historically been very close to 100%. The pandemic dropped it a little bit, but it's still 93% last year. We don't have the data for this year yet. And at the bottom of the slide, you can see some other statistics. The top quartile salary over 100,000. The maximum reported 162. In fact, this year, I already know one of our students ended up with 185,000 offer, which is incredible. Typically, students will double their salary comparing to before and after, and so on. So, and you can see some of the companies here. Any kind, almost any type of company you wish is possible. Some people like to work for large companies, like you see on the slide, SAP, Georgia Pacific, Deloitte. Some people like those consulting companies like Deloitte, but some people prefer smaller companies, entrepreneurial companies, and so on. So almost any type of opportunity that you're interested in is available. On to the next slide, please. So here are some examples of the types of jobs you might find after you finish our degree. Just a few examples of it. Depending on the concentration, of course, we have 3 concentrations. Big data analytics tends to be the most popular. About half our students are in that concentration. And then the digital innovation, which used to be called enterprise systems, and cybersecurity have about 1/4 of our students each. And then on the right side, you see typical salaries from Glassdoor, which I'm sure you can also research. Next, yeah. So here's our curriculum today. So one of the changes we made was we have 1 less course starting in the fall. We have 3 core courses. Everybody in the program has to take those 3, and then each concentration has their own set of 8 courses. So when you're comparing programs, one of the things to look at is how much is it focused on the concentration versus general information systems. Like the core classes are general information systems content, and we have most of our program focused on the concentration. A few things to highlight. I won't go through the courses in detail. In the last 3 years, we've deliberately tried to make the program more experiential. And we've done that in several ways. One, almost every class has a hands-on component where you have to do something with the technology through class projects and homework and assignments and so on. Another thing we did was we have a new course which was introduced again 3 years ago called the Experience class. If you look towards the bottom of the screen, all 3 courses have a course that ends in the word experience. The intent of this course is to bring projects from companies, real meaningful projects, and have our students work on a solution to whatever the problem or challenge that was offered by that company. Sometimes it is, here's a lot of data, make sense of it, provide some insights. Sometimes it is build an app for something, or sometimes it is, here we have a supply chain problem, help us find the solution, and so on. So the whole class is about finding a solution to a problem or a challenge. The other experiential thing is this internship. That's the field study course that you see on your screens. Every student has to do an internship. It's a requirement of the program. And when you get the internship, it has to meet certain requirements, and you have to enroll in this class, a 3 credit-hour class, and that also has some requirements. A unique feature of our program is you can do this internship in your 2nd semester. You don't have to wait till a full year like most other universities. And I think that's an advantage. And to help with that, we end up offering concentration-specific courses in the 1st semester. So you'll end up with 4 courses that are very specific to your concentration. And the idea is to provide you with some emerging skills in the concentration that will help you get that internship in the 2nd semester. Many of our students will do internship in the 2nd and 3rd semester. So a lot of practical experience as you go through the program. Our faculty are among the best. One of the things you should do when you compare programs is compare faculty. Almost all of our faculty are PhDs or C-level executives. So we have our research faculty are considered among the best in the world. And depending on how you measure it, #1 in the world. And that measurement is based on publications in the top 6 journals in the discipline. And our faculty are consistently ranked the best in the world, right? We have a academic association called the Association for Information Systems. It's a global association, and each year they recognize one or two people who have made significant contributions to the discipline in their lifetime. This is called the Leo Award, and 5 of our faculty have received that Leo Award. In addition, there are other awards this organization also offers that many of our faculty have received. No other university has more than 2 Leo Award winners. We have 5. And the third group of faculty is C-level executives, either current or retired C-level executives. So we have a combination of very strong theoretical research content, as well as very applied and practical content. Just some examples of our faculty. Bala is our department head, one of our distinguished research professors, and he's also received several teaching awards. So it's not just the research faculty only doing research. We require them to be very good in teaching. And if somebody is not up to the mark, we don't let them teach in our program. And then the next two, Juan and Dimitri, are some of our junior faculty, also very, very prolific researchers and in the classroom as well. And one example of our executive in residence is Jaspal, who recently retired in January as the Chief Technology Officer for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And you may know that the CDC is the primary organization in the United States that tracks and manages serious illnesses, including the COVID-19 pandemic. So imagine having the conversation with him about the technology aspects of managing a pandemic, right? It's fascinating. So just some examples of our faculty. We have many more. Beyond the classroom, what I think is a very distinctive feature of our program is boot camps. These are usually 1, 2, 3 days, spread over many days, where the idea is to bring in concepts like design thinking or Scrum Master certification, or specific technologies like AWS or blockchain or whatever else that may not have been covered in the classroom for a variety of reasons. Many of these boot camps prepare you for a certification. The certification may or may not be part of the boot camp, but they prepare you for them. So here are examples of the boot camps and the potential certifications that we've offered in the last few years. This is constantly changing. So you may not see some of these when you come here. This is just a list from the last few years. And you see some dollars next to the list of boot camps. Those are representative costs of these boot camps if you were to do these on your own elsewhere, right? For example, the SAP TS410 certification, which is the longest boot camp that we have, and then Rahul might say something about that. It's a 2-week boot camp, and if you go to SAP and get that certification, it's about $8,000, and we offer it as part of the program at no additional cost to you. The only additional cost could be materials and the cost of exam directly related to the exam. So if the certifying organization like SAP or the Scrum Alliance, they say that you have to pay for this exam and you have to buy this manual or book or something like that. And it's usually fairly trivial, $100, $200 or in that range. So if you just look at this list and say you took 3 or 4 or 5 of these, that's a lot of value, right? Not just the dollar value that you're getting, but also the skills and certifications that you might get. The challenge, as I'm sure Aditya and Rahul are going to tell you, is managing your time, making time to take advantage of everything we offer. That's my my advice to everyone when they come here, make sure you take advantage of everything we have to offer. If you do, you'll be extremely successful. But that's hard because it's a 1-year program, 3 full semesters. It's not like we're teaching you less than a 2-year program. It is packed, and time management is what is important. And then on to the next slide, please.
Yeah, so thanks, Simha.
Oh, that's on to you. So, yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
back to me. Thanks. Yeah, so I'll try to be quick because I want to make sure we have time for you to hear from our students and then ask lots of questions. But as Simha said, this is an accelerated program. I think this is something that makes it distinct and different. You can finish this program in 3 semesters. It's 30 credits. You can see here 10 courses plus the internship Simha mentioned. In this cohort structure, you get to know your colleagues. It helps you build a network. And it's something that I know is important to many is that this is a STEM designated program. And that means that you'll be eligible for up to 36 months of OPT. Beyond that, we're not going to dig a lot into the details on the application requirements today, but I wanted to give you a little bit of just an overview of some of the things that we typically see in the students in our program. You can see here some of the degree requirements, some of the minimums around the TOEFL. We do not require a GMAT or a GRE, but we do recommend if you feel like it will add value to your application, you should please submit one. We have been seeing around an average score of 310 for those who have been submitting scores this year. And then you can see here, we have a Python programming prerequisite. So if you do not already have experience in this area, there is a course that's available through Robinson that you can take for free, just to make sure that you're ready for success in this program. And then business experience is preferred, but it's not required. We really are looking at your whole application when we're considering you for our program. So we want you just to think about highlighting the strengths of your application when you submit them. We'll be having some sessions about our MSIS program, which will have more details on the application process that we'll share at the end of today's session. But if you're already ready to apply, you can see the link here. And just something I know that's important and on everybody's mind is financing your education. So I wanted to give you insight. There are some scholarships and other opportunities within the university, but the main way that our students are funding their education are through graduate research assistantships. And so for our students in the MSIS program, you will either get an offer for a graduate assistantship upon admission. So if you're admitted to our program, you would find out at that time if you've received an assistantship. If you do not receive one, but you are admitted and you submit your deposit to confirm your seat, our department faculty will continue to review our incoming students' resumes for additional opportunities. And even beyond that, there's opportunities at the larger Georgia State University that's available to our students. And you can see on the right-hand side a chart that just shows the tuition and what is covered by the graduate assistantship, because the assistantship covers tuition, but it does not cover fees. But you can see the breakdown there. And then before we dive into talking to our students, I wanted to tell you more about our student community. And looking at the MSIS students from fall 2021 and spring 2022, you can see that we've got a good representation from India. We have 68% that are international students, but 54% coming from India, and then 32% of our students that are coming from here in the US. And when we look specifically at the top cities where our students were coming from, because we have students coming from 64 different cities in India, but these were the top ones. You can see Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, and Nashik. So those are the top cities. And even if you're not from one of those cities, like I said, we have people coming from 64 different cities that are in our program. So with that, I'm going to turn things over. I'm going to start just by having Rahul and Aditya introduce themselves. You can see a little bit of their background, and then I'm going to ask them a few questions just to kind of kick off the conversation about our program and their experiences. So with that, maybe we'll start things with you, Rahul.
Oh yeah, sure. So hello everyone. My name is Rahul Suri, and I'm currently a student in MSIS program with Digital Innovation program. And one of the things which I would like to talk about, which stands out is about the curriculum, is that it is, I can think of from digital innovation perspective, it is SAP, because in today's world, everyone is talking about data, but we don't know how and from where this data is generated. So here SAP plays an important role in the curriculum. to understand how data is stored, maintained, especially in S/4HANA system, and then how this data is transformed and integrated with big data technologies like AI and ML. So these are some key important aspects to consider. Overall, yeah, if I talk about my career goal, I'm looking for roles in consulting where I can bridge the gap between the business and technologies front. And feel free to reach out to me over my LinkedIn profile if you have any questions.
Thanks,
Over to you.
Rahul. I'll ask some questions after Aditya gets a chance to introduce himself and share a few highlights as well. Thanks. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Sarah. Hey guys, like you can see, my name is Aditya. I'm from Bhubaneswar, so the eastern part of India here. So I actually completed my undergrad here in the US just a couple of years back. And then I decided that hey, my previous background was just in information systems, a pretty generic major. And I was like, I've got to pick something that's really specific what I want to do for my career. And that's where cybersecurity was something that I was always thinking about due to some of my exposure through competitions and such like that. And when I started looking for universities that were providing, programs in cybersecurity, there were very few of them, very, very few of them. And when I saw that, Georgia State provides what it does in terms of, what they're doing in research with respect to cybersecurity, the class structure, what they have, what the classes they're offering, the job employment rate, and the companies that are around in Atlanta, I was like, this got to be the program that I'm going to go for. So the program here, like expected, it's everything what I thought it would be. Because the classes are great. We got to do a lot of cool things. We do a lot of hands-on work with security things, which I don't think a lot of other universities are providing in terms of security tools. You got to use a lot of different security tools, and when you do interviews with different companies, they value that because you are actually going out and using those tools that they're using right now in their companies, which is huge in cybersecurity. But yeah, as you can see, I'm currently also working as an intern, as a security engineer for this company called Recorded Future. Started in January. Great team, great company. And GSU is just helping me a lot because we have classes in the evenings, which allows us to work before you go to go to classes. So that's one thing that I really like about Georgia State is the flexibility that they provide. And I'm fortunate to also get like a full-time role pretty recently, so that's been nice. But I would just say to anyone who's coming here and who's thinking about MSIS, it's a great program. It's gonna be one of the most fulfilling things you would do in 1 year. You'll get a lot out of it, a lot of resources, make the most of it. And yeah, feel free to reach out on my LinkedIn and we can definitely connect if you have any more questions.
Thanks, Aditya, and congratulations on your full-time role. That's really exciting. Well, so Rahul, for you, maybe kind of two questions as far as related to the curriculum. I guess, what are the professors like? What is your workload like? This is such an intensive program. Tell us more about that.
Oh, yeah. I would say that the course is really very hectic. You have to be on your toes. So one suggestion from my side would be to better prepare and manage your time, because the course is very rigorous. You have to complete your assignments, you have to learn new technologies, new subjects which are being taught in the class, and then actively you have to apply for internship, because that's the unique part of the program. So I would say there is a lot to focus and you will not recognize how time flies.
Thank you. Okay, so Aditya, can you talk to us a little bit about boot camps? Are there some that you've attended? Have you found them to be helpful, or have they benefited you in your job search?
Yeah, definitely. So the boot camps in Georgia State are pretty useful, like Professor Muggle said. I've attended the AWS Cloud Solutions boot camp, and that was pretty nice. On a span of 2 days, we got to know pretty much what's really needed for the boot camp. And although you have to do your own work after that, but it really gives you a really good start, especially if you're new to the field. So I really liked the AWS Cloud Bootcamp, and then also there's the Security Plus Bootcamp that's being offered here and there, and that's pretty nice, especially if you want to go in security. And apart from that, if you're in big data, Tableau is something that was offered as well. So there's a lot of different variety, depends on what you want to go for. But I can say that there's something for everyone, because whatever they offer is There's something you can put on your resume. You can learn that and you can talk that in interviews. So yeah.
And Rahul, you mentioned the boot camps earlier as well. So which ones have you participated in and found to be useful?
Yeah, so I think on boot camps, so as we discussed in slide, there are many boot camps which are offered by Georgia State universities. And if I can recall in last 6 months, how many I have attended? I think I would say I have attended more than 5 boot camps which were conducted over weekends. So it's the best time when we can attend those boot camps. So I have attended boot camps on AWS, then Salesforce, PMP, and SAP TS410, which is specifically designed for digital innovation concentration. So I see those boot camps to be definitely helpful in my job search because they give you an edge over the industry. And these are all advanced level certifications. It's not something which you can do it over YouTube or any other digital media platform. These are more rigorous, industry specific, and experience based. So you are able to build a diversified portfolio on your skills in your resume and showcase to employers further what you possess. And these all skills are considered as niche skill in the US market. I can tell you about that. And most important is that these skills make you unable to apply to jobs over LinkedIn, any other job portal confidently. You are very much confident on your skill set.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're running out a little bit of time, so I'm going to just ask a few more, maybe 2 more questions here, but would love to hear, maybe starting with you, Aditya, just, I guess about the career support that you've had in the program. I know you've been successful, both of you, in landing internships, but also Aditya recently getting a full-time job. So I guess what resources, if any, have you utilized, at Georgia State, Robinson, to help you in that effort?
Yeah, so the Robinson College of Business has a great, initiative towards getting you landed with internships and full-time jobs. Because the classes where normally we have classes at the Bucket Center where they have the Career Advancement Center, the CSC, which I would encourage everyone to go to once if you are admitted to this college. They really help you with helping with your resume. There's tools like VMark where I've uploaded my resumes. They go ahead and review that, and then they give you a good score of hey, you got 7 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. They tell you where you can go and improve your resume. And I can tell you, after using that, I've definitely got more calls for interviews and such. So using VMark has been great. This is a website called Handshake that GSU is affiliated with, which is great for internships. They have a great listing of internships depending upon what your profile is. So using Handshake has been really good. And apart from that, just the people who have a lot of experience in the industry, they're always there in Robinson to just go ahead and help you out in answering your questions. And if you have any questions regarding, hey, is this company going to sponsor my visa, or is this company, what companies are coming to the career fair, things like that. So there's a lot of different resources that I've found to be useful.
Anything you want to add, Rahul?
Yeah, I think most of the things are being covered by Aditya at the moment. There are a lot of opportunities which you can go over Handshake tool. It's very powerful tool, I would say. I see a lot of employers reaching out to me directly over Handshake and asking me if I can send out my latest resume, and so many things happening over Handshake. So and VMark is again one of the powerful tools. Which is an AI build tool to get suggestions on your resume. So that's also a unique feature. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So one last question, just having come to Atlanta, probably never having spent a lot of time here before, I don't think. How do you like living here in Atlanta?
Yeah, so if I talk about Atlanta, to be honest, I have been to US previously before while I was working with the IIT hurdles. But Atlanta is my preference because, the weather is very pleasant here, similar to what we see in India specifically. And then Atlanta, I see that it is an IT hub to many companies like Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola, Microsoft recently opened their center here in Atlanta, Midtown. So I see a lot of IT opportunities coming here. So overall, I would say it's a great place to live from a weather perspective, job perspective, and on living cost also. It's very cheap compared to other cities in US.
How about you, Aditya? Anything else to add?
Yeah, I think those are some great points. Atlanta definitely feels more like home, especially after I was in Wisconsin for a couple of years there, and it was super cold down there. And it was a really pleasant change that I came down here in Atlanta because the weather, like Rahul said, is really good. And I think Atlanta is just, this big business booming hub that's having pretty much everything. You have diversity. You have things to do apart from, the companies that Rahul mentioned, a lot of headquarters here. So a lot of companies are again investing into these areas here so that they can go ahead and get more talent. And Georgia State is right in the heart of downtown, so it really, is in the middle of everything. But Atlanta as a place got a lot of different cool things to do. You guys can, enjoy your time here, enjoy the, city life, go outside and, hike. But yeah, for me, Atlanta has been, a good blend of everything.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to share this information about our upcoming webinars because I know we're going to be jumping into Q&A here, and I encourage everyone. I'm sure questions have been coming in, but hopefully our students and our faculty director can be a good resource, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to the admissions process or the application. So thank you so much for allowing us to be with you today, and we're looking forward to answering some of your questions.
Thank you so much, everyone. And now we are open for questions. Students, if you want to ask questions, please post your questions in the question section. If you want to ask questions directly, please click on the raise hand tab. Shiksha will unmute you and you can ask your question. So the first student I'm going to unmute is Sabin Huda. Sabin, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Sabin, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to know, I got a very good idea about the college and all, but I just wanted to know how much the degree costs and what's the scope for scholarship.
Yes, so the degree is around $40,000 US with our graduate research assistantship opportunities. There's a significant support to cover the tuition. I think I've got a slide here. Maybe I can go back to it just for kind of a quick reference, so you can get a look at it. And there's the breakdown there, so you can see so $47,000 for international out-of-state students. So you can see the tuition waiver there, which will come from a graduate research assistantship. And then on top of that, our students are also doing, or will eventually take on internships that are typically paid as well. So, but these are kind of the what it looks like if you get a graduate assistantship, which can be offered upon admission, or if you don't get one upon admission, there's an opportunity to get some after you've deposited, as the faculty will continue to look at candidates for scholarships and research assistantships.
If I could add couple more things to that. Most of our students in the second and third semester have either an internship or a GA position. In fact, every semester I lose GAs because they got a full-time internship, which, I'm happy for them, but it's my loss. So financing the education is possible, either through a GA or through an internship. Internship is required, so you don't have a choice about that. But it's paid. All our internships are paid.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sabin. Moving to next question, I'm going to take this from chat, and this is regarding the application deadline. The student has asked, as the deadline is 1st April, when do you suggest that the student, what about the students who have yet not given the IELTS exam? Do they still apply without the IELTS exam, or do they have to wait for the IELTS exam and then they can apply?
A good question. So you can submit your application and then send in additional information. So my recommendation would be to submit all the other materials that you have available to you. And then if anything additional needs to come in, like an IELTS score, a TOEFL score, anything else, we will wait until we receive that to complete your application. But if that's the only thing that's outstanding, then once we receive it, we'll be able to start reviewing your application. So my recommendation is, start and submit your application. And we understand that oftentimes scores and transcripts and things like that can come in a little bit later. And so it's okay to submit your application if you don't have that just yet, but I'd recommend submitting it and then sending it to us once it's available.
Sarah, could you also comment about the deadlines themselves? How hard are these deadlines?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just going to go back to a slide up here just so everyone can kind of digest it, looking at it. Here it is, and it also has the link to apply. But our last kind of international student deadline is April 1st. It's not a hard deadline. We are on rolling admissions, but that's our recommendation just from our past experience and seeing kind of when students need to be admitted by, to have enough time to get an I-20 and get here to the US, get settled in, be prepared for orientation. So our recommended deadline for international students is April 1st. But if you need a little more time, that's okay. This is just kind of our recommendation to ensure, that you really have a comfortable amount of time if you're admitted to get your I-20, be prepared to get here to the US in time for orientation.
Okay. Moving to next question. This is regarding the backlogs, retakes. How many retakes are accepted by the university? And if there are more retakes and students have a work experience, does the retake valuation goes down or it remains the same?
What's the retake in regard to? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part.
Backlogs, basically backlogs. If a student has given some examination in a semester and was not able to pass, he's supposed to retake that same exam the next semester.
So the exams are specific to courses, right? So you take a particular course and then they have various activities in the course, like assignments and presentations and exams, and that determines the grade in that course. It is very unusual for people to not get a successful grade in our classes. It happens occasionally, but it's very unusual. And when we are making admission decisions, we look at all the different aspects of your application, and the decision is based on, will you be successful in our program? That's a judgment that we have to make, and it combines all of your undergraduate program, your work experience, if any, scores, etc. So we try very hard to not admit people who we think will not be successful. It's very rare for someone to have to repeat a course in our program.
Okay. Moving to next question. This question has been asked by a student who is saying that, what is the field study component and elective in MSIS program?
The field study course is the internship course. You have to get an internship that meets certain requirements, and the requirements basically are that you can demonstrate that you're able to apply the knowledge that you've gained in the program during the internship. And it's a 3 credit hour course that has various requirements that you have to submit periodic reports, your supervisor has to submit periodic reports, etc. And you can do that in the 2nd semester and or the 3rd semester. There was another part of that question. Could you repeat that?
Elective, I think.
Oh, electives.
Yeah, elective.
Yeah. So the electives are what I think of as a directed elective. It's not a free elective, meaning you cannot choose whatever course you want to take. Because it is a cohort program, all students go through the program together. We, as the faculty, select an elective for each cohort and for each concentration. You really don't have that much choice in terms of what course you can take. It's all prescribed given the cohort format.
Okay. Moving to next question. This is regarding, is GRE a mandatory exam that has been accepted by the university, or TOEFL or an English proficiency test would be enough to apply for the program?
Yeah, so as of this past fall, we made the decision to no longer require a GMAT or a GRE score to be considered for admission. So it is not required. You can be admitted without a GRE or a GMAT score, but for those that feel like it will add value to your application, we encourage it. We still see many applications that have test scores because they're demonstrating a part of their application that maybe they don't have somewhere else, or maybe it's enhancing other parts of their application. As for a TOEFL or IELTS, yes, so we accept both of those exams. Those are still required. And so those are sufficient to submit with your application, but the GMAT or GRE are not required.
Okay. Next question is from a student who has already applied, who has already submitted an application for the MS in Information System program, and he is seeking for an expected time frame in which he can expect a decision from the university.
Yeah, so great question. I mean, I think in our ideal world, we have decisions out once your application is complete. So we had that question earlier about the IELTS. So sometimes applications are submitted, but we don't have all the materials to make them complete. So once an application is complete and it is forwarded to the admissions committee for review, it can take about 4 to 6 weeks. We are in a position right now where we're very lucky, and we've had a high increase in applications for our program. So we're working diligently to get through those applications and get those reviews out and decisions to our applicants. But we are a little bit behind, but we're trying to catch up so that those decisions can come out a little bit sooner. But our typical timeline is about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Moving to next question, I think this question is for Aditya and Rahul. The student has asked if you can share some insight about the life at the campus and the program that you're pursuing. How much theory and how much practical percentages, if you can share with the students.
Yeah, I can go. Regarding the first question regarding the life on campus, so normally MSIS students, we go to the Buckhead Center for our classes. GSU is very big, so we have like a downtown campus and other campuses. And I think, there's a great student life out here in Georgia State, because especially in downtown campus, you have a lot of student organizations. So if you have interest in sports, if you have interest in arts, or any sort of competitions, or like if you want to get involved in karaoke, for example, there's a lot of different things you can get involved in. Like you guys saw in the webinar, like it's about 50,000 plus students here in the campus. So there's always events happening. There's a website where you can go and check on events. So I think the life here is great. If you want to do things outside of classes, it's just all about managing time. That's what I would say. And regarding the second question about the practical experiences you get in classes, I think Professor Magal touched on this on the webinar. On our classes, we're definitely getting more hands-on experiences, as compared to what even I had in my undergrad. So, for example, in security, getting to use tools like Kali Linux, getting to use different protection tools. Like there's a lot of different things that I actually get to use that I wouldn't have the chance, because sometimes Georgia State gives us a license to use it, right? So you have a lot of resources at your disposal that you would get to use practicality in terms of like what you would use in a company. So I would say there's a lot of pretty much every class has some practical applications.
Yeah, I can probably add a few more comments here. So just to give you 2 real-time example, one is SAP. So you will be working on a real-time project, not real-time. It's for a retail client for which you develop SAP system and everything. On Professor Magal will, maybe he can pitch in more about this. This is a retail client for which you will be developing the SAP system from scratch. So it's 100% practical. And then if I talk about integrating SAP with big data technologies like AI ML, So it's not something you will be writing models, it's the business implementations, how ML technologies or AI technologies are being used in the industry. So you are going to write the code, you are going to do everything practical. It's the theoretical part is there, but it's very minimal in this component. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rahul and Aditya. Moving to next question. This question has been specifically asked by Prasanti. I'm taking the student name here. So the student is saying that my GRE score and BTech percentage makes me eligible for the program, but my TOEFL score is 75. But I do have a 2 years of work experience. Can I apply for the program?
So the university does have a minimum on the TOEFL that, unfortunately we're not able to budge on. So, the minimum for that TOEFL is 90 for an overall score. So I would just recommend, retaking it, so that we can have a chance to review your application.
Another question adding to the TOEFL English proficiency test has been asked by 2-3 students if Duolingo test has been accepted by the university.
So the university officially accepts TOEFL and IELTS scores. There was a time during the pandemic, in the heaviest times, where we would make some exceptions, but as of now, the TOEFL and the IELTS exam are what we're utilizing for our applications.
Okay, moving to next question. This question is again asked by a student who is an Indian origin, but currently pursuing a master's in UK and wants to transfer his program to US. And the program that he's pursuing is MS in Data Analytics. So is it a possibility if the student wants to transfer his program to MSIS, will that be a possibility for a student?
So I think you're asking if the coursework that was completed in the UK university can be used to substitute for some of our courses. It is possible. Our courses tend to be very unique because they're very concentration specific, but you can transfer up to 6 credit hours of coursework from another master's program.
Okay. Next question, again, this is on the nationality. The student is holds a US passport, but the education was in India. So will there be any different procedure for a student to submit an application at the university?
Could you ask that again? Sorry.
The student is saying that he holds a US nationality, but the mode of education was all done in India. His education was in India. So is there any different procedure for a student who holds a passport from US that they have to apply differently, or they will have to go through the process that all other international students are going through?
I mean, I think that's a good question. I mean, I think the only main difference would be something like the TOEFL exam, but I think if you're considered a US citizen, then you're not required to take a TOEFL or an IELTS exam. So I think that would be the only difference. Otherwise, all of our applicants are looked at the same. We're looking at the same criteria. And the main difference for our international applicants is really just that English language exam. So if they are holding a US passport, then they're probably exempt from that exam.
Okay. Moving to next question. This is regarding students who are from non-technical background, and if they want to pursue this program, what would be the criteria for such students who do not have a technical background or a CS background?
So a lot of our students don't have a business background, and some of them don't have a technical background either. Many of our students are engineers by background. And if those that do have a technical background tend to be more on the coding side, and they're looking to change career paths to get more into the business side of things. So we don't require a specific technical background or a specific business background, except for that Python programming, which you can complete before you come to the university through online options that we provide. It's because it's a cohort program, a lot of things happen in groups. Different students in the groups bring different skill sets to the project. And so there's a lot of mutual learning happening over there. So people can be successful without a business and or technical background.
And as far as the application is concerned, I think, you'll just want to demonstrate your understanding of this degree, why it makes sense for you, why it's a fit. In some cases, this is where maybe a GMAT or a GRE would be useful to demonstrate your quantitative skill set if you don't have a quantitative coursework in your background. So just, knowing what the degree is, what you want to accomplish with it, gives us an insight into your understanding of what this degree is about and that how you're going to tackle, those learning opportunities that might be new to you.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question. And this question has been asked by a student who is saying that he currently pursuing BSc in statistics, a 3 years bachelor's degree in India, and wanted to know if he's eligible for this particular program. I have completed 15 years of education that the student is sharing, and I'm applying for IELTS exam next month.
Okay, well, we can't dig into everybody's individual profile, but because we, of course, have the admissions process, for a reason. But I'll say in regard to 3-year degrees, the university does accept 3-year degrees that have a first class with distinction or first class from an accredited university. Other degrees, the university is looking at them to see if they're equivalent to a U.S. 4-year degree. But hearing work experience certainly always adds value for a master's student. It's not required, but certainly when you're studying at a graduate level, being able to apply what you're learning to the experiences that you've had will make it a richer experience. So having 15 years of experience certainly will benefit you in your learning experience as well. So, but again, there's a lot of things that go into reviewing the application as far as your experience is concerned. The types of things that you've done, the skills that you've built, how this fits into your career journey. So there's a lot of things that we're looking at when it comes to that big picture of your application. But just some things to keep in mind, having experience is certainly not going to hurt you. It sounds like you've had a lot of exposure to industry. And then as far as the 3-year degree, I've mentioned that as well. So, and then the IELTS exam certainly will be useful as a requirement of the application.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. I'll take the last question now, which is a common question from a lot of students regarding the career opportunities and scholarship.
Career opportunities, as we showed a slide earlier, we have very high placement rates. Almost the internship is a requirement, so every student gets an internship either in the 2nd or 3rd semester. And the types of jobs and the compensations that our students receive are very attractive. If you attend a regular seminar where we have more time, we get into a little bit more detail on that. But we had one slide here earlier, which you can replay the video afterwards. Yeah. What was the other part of the question? There's career opportunities, and there's something else.
Was regarding the scholarship opportunities.
Scholarship, yeah. We again also talked about that quite a bit. You can replay the video and look at it. But almost all of our students have either a GA position or an internship in their 2nd and 3rd semester. The scholarships, sometimes you get the GA position at the time of admission, sometimes you get it a little bit later. But I can tell you, generally speaking, we are looking for GAs and we can't find enough.
So with this, we have come to the end of the session, and I would like to thank Sarah, Professor Seema, and Rahul and Aditya for joining us in doing this wonderful session for all of us. And I hope that we were able to cover major portion of the of your query, students. Still, if there are questions that we were not able to take, do not worry, your details will be shared with the university, and the questions that you have posted in the chat box will be shared with the university. And before I end, I would request Sarah or Professor Seema to please share some, guidance that you can share, that can really help students, when they're thinking of applying to Georgia State University.
And as I said earlier, we're looking at your application holistically and trying to determine if you'll be successful in our program. There are different components of the application. There's a resume, there's a video interview, there's work experience, etc. And you have to somehow convince us that you will be successful, that this is the right program for you, right? So pay attention to the essays, pay attention to the video interviews, and speak to the admission committee saying, this is the right program for me. And we will take all of that into account and make that judgment, whether you'll be successful. We don't want you to come here and not be successful. That's not good for you. It's not good for us. And the vast majority of our students are very successful.
Not a lot to add. I mean, that was pretty comprehensive. So I just say when I think about the application, I think about it like a puzzle, and everybody has, the puzzle pieces are all different sizes. So someone may have a lot of work experience, and so that puzzle piece is bigger. Maybe they don't have a technical undergrad degree, so maybe that piece is smaller, but you just want to put together the best picture that you can for us. And from today's session, I hope that you are taking in information that you can use in your essays, that you can use in your video interviews, to show us that you're genuinely interested and you understand how this degree and our university and College of Business, Robinson College of Business, are going to help you get where you want to go.
And you can participate in our webinars that are much more detailed. You can contact, of course, Rahul and Aditya, but many of our other current students and alumni are happy to talk to you. You can set up a one-on-one meeting with one of our recruiters to get more insights. So get as much information as you can about the program before you apply.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Professor Seema. And student, you will also be contacted by the Shiksha counseling team here. And if you have further queries regarding admission scholarships or processes, please share that with the students, with the counseling team here, and they will be able to help you. And with this, I now end the session. I want to thank everyone who have joined us. Have a great day ahead, Professor Seema, Sarah, Rahul, and Aditya there, and have a great evening to all the students who have attended this session. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Be safe, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.